What?
Now to check when everything goes online. As I
retweet, like. There you go.
Dink, 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 dink. Goes everything.
Starting soon, it says.
Yeah, it's got to connect. Mixer always connects immediately.
Well, it says you're live.
Yeah. Alright.
This is a very sensitive microphone. I remember that. Yeah, no, it was fun seeing the game because it was like you see that huge hole in the middle of Iceland defense, and there's Messi there, and they're like, pass the ball to Messi so we can get it. I was like, please. What an obvious trap. And Argentina fell for it every single time. I don't know why they wanted to get so close to the goal so badly.
That's just how I feel like that's just how these sorts of teams play. They always want to try to like run through the middle of the opponent's defense. That's why they mark up so tightly. It's just like you can't. Like you need to try something else. This clearly doesn't work.
Yeah, no, but there's this one time. I forgot who it was. Was it Aguero? I think it was Aguero. He passed everyone and was like in front of the goal. He panicked, and passed the ball. I was like,
yeah, no,
you tried to do that the entire game, and now that you succeeded, you just gave up. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think that was Messi actually, but yeah, no, it's
like,
it's weird.
Messi tried to kick the ball like outside of the.
Well, he did that too. He did that
and
too.
He outscored. They should have stopped doing that.
I know. It's weird. It's like it's the thing that it's the Barcelona type football that I hated when they were at their best. I mean, I say hated when they were at the best. Like they were obviously the best at playing the ball around, but it was like and not giving up possession. But there were so many times where teams would literally just put everyone in defense and mark up their fucking 18-yard box. And it's like rather than trying to shoot from distance or go out wide, they always try to play through the middle, and no one wants to shoot, even when they have a chance to shoot.
It was a fun game.
It was.
My brother was cheering for Messi, and when he missed the penalty,
yeah,
I just walked off.
Dude, that was such an I said like, oh, I'm sitting there like going, I would like no, I'm sitting there when he said or when Messi takes a penalty, I'm like, if this goalkeeper saves this penalty, he will forever be a god in his native Iceland. And then he fucking saves it, and I'm like, yep.
Free fish for life.
Free fish, please. He'll get free booze.
Free booze, free women, free men. Who knows what he's into after that game?
This game is run by a dentist.
Yeah, it is. I know, right?
And like, most of them are semi-professional, or worse semi-professional. The goalkeeper, for example, he's a director, a movie director.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Because
Iceland. There's no way you'd like Iceland.
You shouldn't. I mean,
you shouldn't exactly.
Yeah, it's like you said. It's like I said. You know, the dream will eventually have to die, but like, just everyone should just get caught up in this right now because this is insane. This is never going to happen again.
Until like Liechtenstein or Luxembourg somehow get there.
I mean, Luxembourg could do it. They can import some players.
Sure.
They have a lot of people.
I mean, if France can import players, then any other team can, right?
Well, I mean, they can do it very easily. There's a lot of Portuguese. So, you know.
Norway 2026. I believe it.
You know, I hope for it. I don't believe it, though.
You hope. Come on. Have more faith in your team. Every one of your neighbors are succeeding at that, so I don't know.
I know. We're the only one that don't, but you know, that's kind of just how it goes.
I have a feeling.
Yeah. But I mean, The sad thing is I could see Finland qualifying before we do.
Oh. Oh boy, that's a very real thought.
I could see the fucking Faroe Islands qualifying before Norway does. This is nice, okay? I want to have faith. I want to have faith in my team, but they give me no reason to have faith in them. The only time we beat teams that we should normally not be able to beat is when it literally doesn't even matter. The only time we beat teams we normally should be able to beat is when it doesn't matter.
All right, guys, you ready to get this going?
I'm ready.
And if anything like really awesome happens during the World Cup, just yell it out. Who cares?
I probably won't.
Aw. I'm not able to watch it because my computer's bogged up.
Review Raw
I know.
2002.
I mean, awesome. I say probably won't. I don't know what's gonna happen. There's some, like I said again, if somebody scores a screamer from inside the center circle, then maybe it's possible. But
okay,
yeah.
Hickey, you want to do the intro, my sir, since you haven't been here in a couple casts?
Not really, because I don't even
really.
know. Oh, it's episode 27. I see now. I was like, oh. No, to be honest.
Tori, do you want to do it?
Nah, you can do it.
Okay, well then I'll be the moderator, I suppose.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so...
Waiting for a countdown.
Yeah. Getting everything up. Cool. 3, 2, 1, go. Hello, everybody, good listeners. It is time for the Red Leaf Retrocast Worldwide Weebs Edition. It is episode 27, where we are reviewing Trigun. But before we get there, we got quite the agenda ahead of us with some recent news. Thanks to our boy Hickey, you have returned!
I have returned, finally. Oh.
I have definitely missed your sweet, sweet Brazilian bod.
Thanks.
Not bad. Nice little boss.
Followed by Hickey's news update, we have a very interesting discussion brought to us by, it was your idea, in fact. Tori, you are here with this idea. What is that idea that you have brought to us?
Hello everyone. I'm back once again because, well, you can't get rid of me. My idea is, simply that for this podcast, I wanted to discuss anime, or whether or not it, older anime, whether or not it holds up, but to be more specific, 1998 anime, and whether or not it holds up.
I quite like this idea, especially since it is exactly 20 years ago that many of these anime first released on our television screens.
Big brain.
Yeah. And it has a lot of nostalgia, since a lot of anime fans, or at least older anime fans, not the modern ones, are pretty much hit with a lot of childhood nostalgia now, and are getting a lot of these sold back to them at a premium price in box sets. So yeah, Tori, this idea of does it hold up? Well, is it even worth going back to? And then I've added a little bit to it, such as like maybe possibly some modern anime that you could compare it to, or at least contrast to it. At least get the same idea of what that spirit was back then. Opinions aside, it'll be a good... I'm looking forward to that discussion. I'm quite excited for it. But the World Cup's been going on. We're all excited. We actually saw a good game yesterday, and then a good game this morning.
Yep, there's been many good games. Well, I say many. There's been some.
There's been 2.
The entire 2014 World Cup went without a single good game, so I take that as a win.
Ooh, shots fired there.
But yeah, No, well, actually, I'm thinking of the 2010 World Cup. Never mind. Sorry, I didn't mean to shit on Brazil.
I could name one game to disagree with that.
You can get but like, before you get at least 1 star on your national team shirt, please do not talk to me.
Oh, please, relax. We're never going to get a star on our jersey.
Norway needs to make the World Cup first. They need to make the Euro first.
The only way Norway's going to qualify for the World Cup is if we fucking host the World Cup. And that is also never going to happen.
Super fun, super fun.
Yep.
Well, it's been quite a crazy couple weeks for sure. Just very busy. I'm about to go on a little job search / bowling trip hiatus here, so I'm looking forward to that / not looking forward to it at the same time. Hickey, you're almost you're finally at the end of your school thing, right?
Yeah, I'm almost done. There's only one last thing to do, which is presenting my final paper, and I'll be free. And hopefully I won't die.
And then you can finally catch up on all that sweet, sweet anime.
All that sweet anime.
Hopefully. I already have everything planned, so it's a matter of time.
And Tori, what's going on with you, sir?
Well, I'm on my pseudo summer break now. School isn't over for me yet, but I finished my exams and whatnot, so basically the only reason why I'm not going to school is because, well, school is no longer mandatory, and the only thing I have left to do is the graduation ceremony, so there's no need for me to go.
That's gotta be a sweet, sweet feeling as well.
Yep.
And, well, I mean, one of the anime-wise,
I've been, now that the World Cup started, I catch myself watching less anime just because I got football to watch. I have more important things to do. So,
dude, I really feel you on that one.
Yeah, nah, but I'm still trying to keep up. I haven't really watched any of the Saturday anime that's come out for me today, so I still need to get on that. But I got to watch Iceland draw with Argentina, so that was something.
That was an exciting game. I also woke up a bit early myself to see the Australia-France match, and we had a small discussion before that. That's neither here nor there, but yeah, I was quite upset with that match in general.
Nah, I was happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine.
That was fine.
Australia played well. Played like the Netherlands.
They did.
Australia played like the Netherlands, as in they hold up and lose, because they're a bunch of losers!
Actually, the only thing that Australia needs is quicker players. If they can manage to get some quicker players, they're gonna play just like the Netherlands.
Well, Henrik Larsson can't play for forever.
You say that, but
well, tell that to Robin. He's doing well.
Well, that dude's been balding since he was 16, so you don't know how old he is.
True. And
we'll never know. It's impossible to find out.
Yep, but this isn't the football cast, guys.
Yeah, it's the video game cast, right? How was E3 for you guys? Did you watch it at all? Probably not. You guys don't like video games.
You're right. All I do is play
can't wait for Bloodstained. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, Hickey and I were talking last night, and as I was playing Ghouls and Ghosts on the Sega Genesis, we were talking up Bloodstained, and you're very excited for that game.
I am fairly excited. I love Castlevania. But this is not the video game cast. This is the wrestling. No, wait. This is the anime cast.
I mean, we can talk wrestling. Anime. I mean, there's WWE events this weekend too.
This is the cast with many different subjects.
Well, Hickey, you got some news to bring to everyone's attention. What is it?
Yeah, just two interesting news that happened. The first one, I think it's the quicker one to talk about. Is Production IMS going bankrupt? Probably.
Yeah, they're not like paying their animators or just small things you don't really need for an anime studio.
Who would have thought
they downsize it and everything?
Yeah, who would have thought that you could get in trouble for not paying your animators? I mean, I thought that was just common.
I thought that was just the way of the anime industry.
Which studio is doing fine?
I know. Well, I mean, you say doing fine, but like, let's be real. They're having some. Once again, now with the Attack on Titan season 3 coming up, they're having some major problems with their team because people are quitting.
Shocking.
Again. They're quitting again.
Shocking. Yeah. Oh wow. No, but like Production IMS is an interesting case because they are a new studio. They have like 5 years. It's not like Menglow had years and years of that big. Production IMS has only 5 years and already went bankrupt.
Yeah, well, I mean, they
you
don't
can
have any
successful.
huge hits.
Data Live 2.
That's not a huge hit. That's a shitty titty show. Just like Testament of Sister New Devil. For those that don't know.
You don't understand how popular Data Live was in Japan, JD.
Was a huge hit.
So it was popular for 2 months. Big deal.
No. It was very popular.
Not enough for them to stay in business, apparently.
Well, they only did the second season. It was popular for the first season.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see the new anime they're gonna pop it out. I think in summer.
See if that finally confirms them as dead.
They have one new anime that's about to start, and I want to see the production on that.
Maybe?
Okay. What?
Summer anime. Bear with me as I look up the seasonal chart.
Okay. Just
look at this guy.
Production mess.
This guy. Look at this man. He's on Anime Planet.
I am on Anime Planet. Hickey, you convinced me. As much as I'm like, who goes to Anime Planet? I'm tired of my anime list dicking around with their site being half finished. And whatever it got hacked or whoever did it, I don't know.
It didn't get hacked.
Impressive. Even Crunchyroll got the Manettans.
I know, right?
My anime list. It was actually less time than expected.
Well, yes, but I mean, the thing with My Anime List is that My Anime List has had an unsafe API access to their site for years, and they're just now finally fixing it. So the thing that they still need to do is they need to go through basically everything to make sure that there aren't any loopholes in their code somewhere. So that does take a long time, sadly. They have a whole bunch of individual things they have to review. So it will sadly take a long time. I mean, but yeah. Basically, the things that people use My Anime List for, anyways, they're operational. You have access to both your anime list and your manga list, and you can view the titles. You just can't go to your profile or stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, as we were speaking, the My Anime List official web just sent me the same notification saying they were back online. This is the 3rd time they did that.
That might be because of the testing.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, I don't know.
Well, anyways, what's the next piece of news we got here?
Next one is an interesting one. A light novel, a upcoming anime, got cancelled. It is called New Life Plus Young Again in Another War.
Oh no, an isekai anime? What will we ever do without another one of those?
Well, we don't need to worry about it anymore because it was cancelled. As well, the 18-volume light novel got cancelled. Why? Because apparently there's some racist stuff on that thing.
I mean,
so basically, the story goes around as like this 94 years old guy dies, and then he requests to be born in another world with 20 years old and blah blah blah, and retain his memories of this world.
Of course.
What happens is, this guy was a war hero, and he killed in the Sino-Japanese War that lasts between 1934 to 1940 something, 47, I think.
Sure.
Because
why not?
It was even after World War II, they kept fighting. Anyway, he killed 3,000 Chinese.
Damn.
And after the war, he killed 2,000 more, and I don't know the circumstances. But I guess people just glanced it over when it first arrived in the light novel. But with the anime, the upcoming anime, and the global market rising,
Right.
they kind of realized there was this part of the story there, and start pressuring like the publisher and the writer to give explanations of all that. And he just said, sorry, it wasn't my intention. Then, of course, they went to his Twitter and saw that he had Twitter in the past racist stuff against Chinese and Koreans.
Yeah, it kind of contradicts because it's a common writing technique. You want to put yourself into your protagonists.
I agree, but at the same time, here's kind of my problem with this, and this is this is something I don't like. His comments about, from what I understand, his quote-unquote racist comments about Korean and Chinese, they were from years ago. It's not like something he wrote now. And then again, you can say, yeah, he kills off a bunch of Koreans and Chinese, but like, I don't know. I don't like shouting racism or whatnot. I'm one of those people who like to defend like creators' rights to tell the story they want to tell.
Right.
I understand that there is a bit of politics in here as well, and that they don't want tensions to rise between Japan and Korea and China because of this. But honestly, I don't see that happening.
I think it's more simple than that. In the last couple of years, China is the major market for anime. No doubt.
Yeah,
no
they've
doubt.
had to deal with some other racist shit.
Yeah, especially like when you analyze the circumstances. The Japanese in the Second World War, they fought with katanas, yes. And the Sino-Japanese War, the kill ratio of Japanese soldiers were very high because basically you had Chinese running in front of machine guns. They didn't have a chance. The interesting part is, although they fought with katana, they were used more in another way. They were openly used to execute war prisoners by decapitation.
Yeah.
So when you go and say, like, this guy had 3,000 confirmed kills with a katana, most of it were probably captured soldiers that he put on their knees and cut away their head. It wasn't a fight.
Yeah.
And, the Japanese made a bunch of horrible stuff in the World War II with China. So big money. The Chinese probably got very angry with that and led to cancellation.
This brings up a couple things. There were some things also said in this article, like you should probably blame. It's not the blame doesn't just lie on one person. It also lies with the publisher allowing something like this to go 18 volumes before they finally went, oh, now there's backlash, we should care. Like you said, Hickey, the worldwide international relations, since this is a marketing exploit that China itself would get visibly upset, so would Korea, including the creator with his past racist tweets. There was even Masao Shiro's Twitter account was suspended after using derogatory slurs towards Japanese people while jokingly recommending his own manga for adaptation. So there's some backlash with this. If I was to look at this from another perspective, I go, yeah, this shouldn't have made it to light with a protagonist with this kind of backstory, because the backstory would seem interesting as an antagonist. Kind of like, imagine if a villain was also the villain was transported with the protagonist, but the villain had this sort of backstory. Then in that case, I think, yeah, as much as it is racist, it would make sense because you're supposed to hate a person like that.
I don't know. I like to defend creators' rights to write the story that they want to write. Hey. I like to defend the creators' rights to basically publish the story they want to tell and go from there. I think the probably the thing that offends me the most about this is the fact that it's a stuck in another world story. So yeah.
That's what you look at.
Yeah.
Another isekai anime. How did that even get past post? Come on, guys.
Yeah, man.
It tells more about the marketing than anything else. Especially like people like, oh, you're ruining this guy's life. He probably won't be able to, sustain his family anymore, which is bullshit. He will probably just change his pen name and keep writing. We saw that with the Samurai X author, that he got caught with child pornography.
The Rurouni Kenshin.
Still working. It's nothing much. It's more about, it shows a little bit how the marketing affects anime. It's not about the social aspect of it. It's more about the money. It is very interesting when something like that, because it is very rare to see something get canceled.
Sure.
Like that, like pressure, and then they just cancel the thing, or a anime adaptation that consumed a considerable amount of money to be just canceled out of nowhere, like very sudden.
New Life Plus was supposed to come out this summer, was it not?
Yeah. It was probably like 3 episodes already done and a bunch in production, if they rushed it.
Crazy.
If they didn't rush it, it was probably like half done.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny how whenever I read any of the summaries on the show that was coming out, that the whole killed a bunch of Korean Chinese people was omitted from the summaries of the character's backstory.
Yeah, not even saying he was a war hero. They didn't say that.
No, they just said he was an old man. That was
publishing it in English as well, but they will cancel as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's not making. I don't know. I haven't read it, so I don't know what the actual backstory is, because every country has war heroes, or people that were in war and have killed. So I think put in the correct light, it can be taken the right way. But the fact that it's the racism behind it with the creator and the past, I think it was doomed once that was found out. And sure enough.
I mean, I think it should have been found out right away, but...
Oh, yeah, it definitely should have been like, hey, wait a minute.
But I'm not against... I'm just against the kind of throwing out hate speech on everything that you don't like. That's just me. I see that shit thrown around way too often. It's like, oh, I don't agree with that. That's hate speech.
Yeah, no, but escape, like the hate speech in this case was just a scapegoat for the capital part of the claim.
Yep, and that is how it goes. That's the market versus versus creative intent. The market ultimately decides. If the market doesn't like what you have to say, well, you don't get to say it.
Alrighty, shall we move on to our main discussion then?
I think so.
Alrighty, yeah. I am gonna, let's see, what's a good late 90s drop I can throw, guys? What do you think? I think... You know what, Tori, this is for you. Screw it.
Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, and I dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I meow, and I meow.
Okay, so Tori, why don't you take this one away, since this was your bread and butter idea?
So basically, you want me to take over the 1998. Okay, so yeah, basically, when we were figuring out what show to review for this one, we ended up because later we're going to talk about Trigun, which was a show from 1998. And one of the things I noticed was that 1998 is by a lot of people considered a golden year for anime. And if you look at the anime that came out in 1998, you definitely understand why. I mean, like even JD linked to an Anime News Network post, which was like, the best of anime 1998.
Yeah, it was.
And,
it was in fact written and posted on April 20th here, so pretty recent too.
Yeah, like, I mean, kind of just to quickly sum over some of them. Like, you have things like obviously Cowboy Bebop, Trigun. You have like what Outlaw Star, Yu-Gi-Oh, Serial Experiments Lane, Cardcaptor Sakura. Like, there's yeah,
a lot
Get a
of
Armageddon.
shows we've actually covered on this cast already, just out of coincidence. Actually, I didn't even notice that they all came out that same year.
Yep,
And we
Initial
kept
D.
picking them from the 90s. So it's very
Yeah.
very. It means something then when we just go, you know what? Let's go back and watch these.
Yeah, it means that 1998 was a terrible year.
Yeah, awful, the worst. What are we talking about?
But yeah, no, like,
I mean, based on we have shitty taste, yes.
Nah, but I mean, like, it's definitely interesting because I didn't really realize. Like, I knew obviously shows from the 90s and late 90s as well that were good, but like, it still kind of shocked me when I saw it. Like, oh wait, these all came out in like not just the late 90s, but 98.
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah, so I can sort of agree. 98 does definitely look like a good year for, unlike today. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2018 is supposed to be a good year, and it's been solid so far. There's some definitely standout shows.
Yeah, I've had worse seasons than or worse years than this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just feel like I'm just interested in the whole, because I feel like that kind of becomes it's the same thing every year, which is, oh, this is the worst year yet. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. Every year is the new worst year. I get it.
Here's the new. It's all over. Forget it.
Yeah.
Then in 10 years, we're gonna see like, oh, but that was a classic. It was underappreciated.
That's
Like,
also true. That's how it always goes. I mean, hell,
oh, yeah.
that's even the things like Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop didn't really become the staple, at least in Western anime fandom, of course. But it didn't become a staple. It was not until later, until the 2000s. I think what was it released in the US? 2002. Oh, that 2000? I don't remember. It came out in the US in the early 2000s at least, and then kind of has slowly built up its reputation since then.
Right.
So yeah, that's often how it goes. But I mean, yeah, we looked at some notable 1998 anime, and JD, you decided to compile a list as well of modern counterparts.
Yeah. So the way I thought about this was because there are a lot of fans of the cast that do listen to specific episodes we put out, such as the early season coverage, the mid-season review, and the end-of-season review. So this was just kind of a fun, hey, maybe you're not into the anime of the past, but maybe you would like to look at something that's kind of an homage or even would remind you of that past show. So I kind of thought outside the box on a couple of them.
One especially.
One would make sense with my reasoning behind it. So, yeah. So take it away, Tori. You want to just go down the list one by one? Obviously, Trigun. We're gonna save our thoughts on Trigun for the review.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what I want to do is just kind of we take our time because obviously one of the questions is, does it hold up? So when I talk about like the 1998 show, I also want to know if you guys think it holds up or not. So we can start off with the first one later, which is Outlaw Star, and I see you set Space Dandy and Gurren Lagann as kind of the more modern counterparts to this.
Yeah, and the other thought process was at least 2005 or 6 post.
Yeah.
Just so enough time had passed after the original show we're talking about. So just to be clear.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't seen Gurren Lagann, so I can't count that. But Space Dandy, I absolutely see. I mean, obviously, Space Dandy is all kind of... It's been dubbed the modern Cowboy Bebop, even though it hasn't had the same impact as Cowboy Bebop did. But it's
surprising, because it is... Well, I mean, that's... Space Dandy was a show I could honestly, for a lot of, I mean, Trigun, Bebop, Outlaw Star, even a Silent Mobius type thing. Like, Space Dandy is, to me, almost an example of this time of 1998 coming back. And the fact that it wasn't popular is definitely a testament to just the modern fans.
I mean, I would say that it wasn't popular because, like, the thing that Space Dandy had going for it was obviously it was one of the first to be simuldubbed, simuldubbed anime, and even better, it was one of the only anime to have come out in dub before it came out in sub in Japan. So I think it came out. It was either like it came out at night in the US and then it came out like at the following night in Japan. I think
something like that.
Yeah. So so Space Dandy definitely had that going for it, but ultimately it did end up being a show that people kind of forgot once the season was over. And again, I kind of feel like that speaks a lot to modern, like not modern anime fans, but like the modern anime escape, because today seasonal anime is basically everything. Mm-hmm. So, and with that, that's not necessarily only negative, but one of the negative things that I find with it is that there's way more like watch and forget, right? You watch a show, you really enjoy that show. Now the season's over. Now it's old news. Now it's on to the new one. No one talks about this one anymore. Like,
yeah, I would agree with that statement for sure. It's just the mindset of the fandom, for sure.
Well, I mean, it's the mindset of everyone. It's the mindset of modernity. Mm. Everything is liquid. You don't have solid basis to anything. Everything is changing and transforming every single time, every single day, every single moment.
Yep.
So it's just a way that the anime industry works.
Yeah.
Just like music and movies, politics, anything is like that nowadays.
Yeah. Right, because you kind of see that as well because one of the things that was more common before is everything wasn't legally available. You kind of waited for that next thing that you were going to enjoy to come out seasonally. And in that waiting period, you would go back and watch the quote-unquote classics, those that everyone said was the good ones that you should watch. You would go back and watch your backlog. Ask how many anime fans now, that got into anime in the last couple of years, how many of them have a backlog that they're going through. The most common complaint you'll hear is that I don't have time to go through my backlog. There's so much seasonal anime. So, But, yeah. But anyways, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think Outlaw Star holds up today?
This is one of the more tougher ones on the list for sure with that question, because in a lot of ways, no.
Mm-hmm.
But in a lot of ways, I think it does as well at the same time. I'm definitely 50-50 on it, because I vastly enjoyed the show, for sure. And I have gone back and watched it recently. For my quest, Tori, actually. Yeah. Fairly recently. And yeah, there's a lot of nonsense throughout it. The animation is quite poor.
Oh yeah.
But the characters were very lovable. The story became very anime, much like the Gurren Lagann story, where it just goes out of control. Universe destroying type shit all the time. Just things you just seemingly comes out of nowhere. But the definitely the start of the show, I want to say that first 6 to 9 episodes was fantastic, and the world building in it was definitely there. But yeah, there's a lot to complain about in the show. I think the joke in the Anime News Network article was, let's be honest, there's only 4 good episodes, and as funny and straightforward as that statement is, you can't totally disagree with it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I fall for as well.
Yeah. So, you know what? I won't cop out with that kind of... I would say no, it doesn't hold up. I won't cop out.
Alright. Tiki?
I haven't watched it.
Oh well,
I don't have an opinion.
that cements your position. Then. So you don't think it? You can't even be bothered watching it. Got it.
Yeah, but just to be clear, I do still like the show.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's not really what I want to get at.
Right.
It's not like do I like it or not. It's kind of do you think it holds up? And if you haven't seen it, then obviously that doesn't really mean anything.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of shows from the 70s and 80s that we've watched in the cast. Like, does it hold up? No, but is it worth watching? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that there are some that holds up, but there are absolutely more that don't. But yeah, my thoughts on Outlaw Star is just I watched it not so long ago either, and honestly, I went into it kind of hyped up because I'd been sold this as one of the best things to come out of the 90s. So I was like, well, that's cool. And I was disappointed because I'm sitting there like, this is the best, one of the best things the 90s has to offer. So for me, I don't think it holds up. I think ultimately it didn't grab me in anything. I didn't like the characters. I thought the comedy was very hit or miss. Ultimately, I will admit that the episodes I really enjoyed, but to kind of counteract that, the episodes that I didn't enjoy, I really didn't enjoy. Like, I was just saying this, aren't they over yet? So I would say that for me, it's a very hit or miss show.
For sure, yeah. I can't argue with that one. We were talking about it a little bit as well, and just how people look at it. This is definitely a show where nostalgia glasses is heavy. I mean, we just had the episode over Slayers. That's a very heavy duty nostalgia type show. Is it fun? Sure, it can be. I had fun with it. Definitely go back and listen to that episode for our full thoughts over the show. But yeah, don't be surprised if we have negative things to say over any show we review. Honestly.
Yeah. I know I got people like me who have no nostalgia for that, and I'm just kind of sitting there going, "Oh God."
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like the three of us here definitely, okay. For example, I did watch Outlaw Star when it was out on Toonami. 20 years ago or 18 years ago, whenever it was out exactly, and I didn't really I thought the show was okay. I thought it was cool. I thought Gene Starlin was a good character, and then I seemingly kind of forgot about it because when I would think back of the 90s, the shows that would come to mind would be like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Cowboy Bebop. Outlaw Star wouldn't make the top of the list, and it would be one where you go, oh yeah, that was pretty good. I think if I remember, maybe kinda.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Sure.
All right then, because this is one that I haven't seen, and it is Silent Mobius. And for this one, you put Be the Beginning and Ico Incarnation as the counterparts, which I also haven't seen any of them. So you're gonna have to take this one.
All right, I'll take this one away. To be so, Silent Mobius is a weird one. It is a supernatural kind of all-women force fighting other supernatural stuff and aliens and whatnot. So it is what I would I don't think it holds up at all, but it was just so out there and weird compared to anything else that was out at the time that it stood out. I mean, it was on Toonami. I believe it was on the Sci-Fi Network or something. There were DVDs always being sold out, at least where I was living. So there was definitely a fandom behind it. But this is definitely one that probably a lot of people have forgotten about. And why I compare it to, say, Ico Incarnation and Be the Beginning, those two Netflix shows that just recently came out, is because they're on Netflix, I think people are kind of skipping by them and will be quickly forgotten about. And then you'd be like, that was a weird show at the end of it, but was it enjoyable for my time when I watched it? I think as a young teenager, yeah. It doesn't hold up now, no, because I did go back and rewatch it, and I was like, whoa, this is not how I remember it.
Okay, just a little question. I'll just add something. Be the Beginning has a second season coming. Netflix announced
cool.
it, but yeah. Do you think that you said the silent movies is something that stood out, even though it's not that great? It still stood out. It is unique, to say
Yes.
the least. Do you think that in an age that where all the fans, and I guess most of the fans, they think there's not a lot of variety on anime and manga, do you think it would still stand out
So
nowadays?
is your question exactly, if this came out today, would it stand out?
Yeah, or you just be
Well,
brushed
that's
off like a bunch of things, or
well, that's why the Be the Beginning and Ico kind of comparison comes into play.
yeah, no, I mean, not if it came out today. Like it is fine coming out in 1998, but I think since it stood out on that time, at that time, do you think it is worth watching it nowadays? That is what I'm asking.
No. I think there are
No.
I think there are plenty of anime that have come out that are related to it, at least in the, as you said, more variety and being weird and having action that did it better. But for the time, Silent Mobius was definitely an outlier.
Yeah, the way you described it and the way it was described to me, because I know about this anime, it makes me remember Witch Hunt Robin.
Yeah,
There's
that's
something
very
I
much
like
in the
to
same
also
realm. It was just different at the time.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't talk about Witch Hunt or Robin that much, so
Yeah.
that was my comparison.
No, that's a good one. That's another good one to mention for sure.
Uh-huh. All right, then. Let's move on to the next one.
Sure.
They
And
have
the next
Twitter.
one. The next one is Cowboy Bebop. And, again, you put Space Dandy as a comparison, which, understandable. It is the new Space Dandy, the new Cowboy Bebop, and
What they
Black
say.
Lagoon. Yeah, and the Black Lagoon, which I also understand. It's got some good action. And yeah, I mean, for my sake, there's no denying, like, Cowboy Bebop was my introduction to anime, and god damn it, I love that one. Like, and I still think it holds up, mostly just because the visuals, the visuals, the choreography, the fight scenes, the just the episodes. Yeah, there are some episodes there that I feel like are not very good, like the mushroom thing. But apart from that, it's fun. It was a fun episode, but I don't think it's necessarily a good episode. But overall, just kind of slowly learning about these characters who people like to say that Cowboy Bebop has no story. I disagree. I think that Cowboy Bebop, it's just that the thing with Cowboy Bebop is the story isn't where these people are in their life and where they're going now. This is the story of people whose prime is behind them. The things that makes these characters interesting has already happened, and that's kind of what you eventually get to learn through their weird bounty hunter, missions in space, and whatnot. Like, and that's what makes this so interesting, because I can still go back and watch Cowboy Bebop and go like, watch an episode and go like, oh right, this part of Faye's story, I thought it was like this, but now I feel like it's more like this instead. It's like I still feel like I get something from it every time. So
oh, absolutely. And to answer the question, does it hold up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
not
agree.
even I won't even second guess that. It's a yes. This is one of the few anime out there that I will seemingly just find myself putting on an episode or two just because.
Yeah. Even if you just want to watch some of those cool fight scenes.
Although I think how the story is structured might be a hit and miss with newer fans, I still think it holds up. The animation was very good to the time. The music is also very, very good.
Mm.
So what do you think of the second anime I compared it to, Tori?
The Black Lagoon?
Yes.
I mean, in terms of in terms of like just blood pumping action, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, like again,
the group of characters and the cast involved to drive the narrative.
Yeah, kind of. But
yeah.
Again, the difference there is I feel like the Black Lagoon cast is kind of more like at face value. Not to say that there is anything below, but most of them, apart from Rock and Revy.
Hey, we're still waiting. Hey, we still got a
value.
season, Tori. We still got a season 3 Black Lagoon where we could get all those characters' backstories. Come on, man. It'll happen someday.
Sure. No, but like I mean, I don't mind.
Like, I've been reading the manga. Like, it can be edited. That's not happening.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like again,
interesting stuff happening. That is for sure. But backstory,
yeah,
a little bit, I think.
I mean, but that's for my test at least that's fine for Black Lagoon, because what I liked about Black Lagoon isn't necessarily that the characters are the most well fleshed out or the best you'll ever see in anime. I just love the blood pumping action that they got going on there. I love listening to fucking Revy swear her goddamn ass off.
Damn right. You know what both of those anime also have?
Great dubs.
Great dubs indeed.
Yeah, I hate dubs, and I'm not even afraid to admit that. Yeah, those are definitely two anime that I feel like just had. I mean, especially Cowboy Bebop as well. When you think about Cowboy Bebop, it had good animation, very good animation for TV series, a great soundtrack, some, in my opinion, pretty good characters, a pretty decent story, and just to kind of top it off, just to kind of round up as like creme de la creme, it's got a fucking fantastic dubs. Easily one of the best dubs probably even easily the best dub at the time.
Yeah, we'll definitely be saving a Cowboy Bebop review for a rainy day.
Yeah, I mean, you can already kind of guess where I will be coming at it. Yeah,
or even a silent maybe even a silent Mobius review.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna take a while.
All right then. Anyone else have anything? Oh, true. Haha, Purcell joke. Anyone else got anything to add on Cowboy Bebop?
No.
All right then. Then we're gonna move on to the next one, which is Trigun. Which, actually, that's the one. I never mind. We're gonna say that one.
Well, how about the comparison? That's what I'm more interested in.
Okay.
Since Trigun will be saved itself.
Blockade Battlefront. Kekkai Sensen. I feel like again this is one you're gonna have to explain.
Okay, so it's a Western-oriented kind of show with a goofy cast of characters. It tries to have an outline story, but the shenanigans through an episode may overshadow it, and it's very 50-50 on a fan base.
Honestly,
the episodic shenanigans is kind of what I was going for there.
Blockade Battlefront deals a little bit better with the cast and the shenanigans.
On the second season.
Anime. I know, like the first season is really good at it, especially how they balance the serious parts with the goofy parts. They don't overlap that much.
Ooh, I'm definitely interested in the Trigun thoughts now. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but you guys see where I was kind of going for on that though.
Kinda, but
I mean, I could put Space Dandy there again.
I know, right? Space Dandy. Basically, Space Dandy is 19.
It's an homage. It's an homage to 1998. Just framed everything in one anime, and I was like, yeah, every single one was good, so this might be good as well. It was, but just like a lot of things in 1998, no one talks a lot about it.
Yep. Oh well. Next up is Cardcaptor Sakura, which obviously has a new sequel out, and you also compared it to a Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoha, which I've heard a lot about but never watched. I also haven't watched Cardcaptor Sakura, so I don't really have anything to add here.
Okay, I have.
Go, Hickey.
I have a lot to add about Cardcaptor Sakura because I watched
That's
it.
right, Hickey's got some opinions on that show.
Hickey doesn't like a show for children. I don't believe it.
Yeah, it is a show for children. I mean, depending on your age, you're gonna have a blast with Cardcaptor Sakura. So it holds up, but at the same time, it doesn't.
Especially it's like my Outlaw Star answer.
The writing is so simple that when it wants to get complicated, it can. So the characters, they just sound dumb most of the time, and you get angry. At least I got angry because Sakura can solve a simple mystery, a simple puzzle. It's not hard, not hard at all.
Hey, Hickey.
So it is.
I just caught the light card in the previous episode, and it's really dark in here. What card should I use to combat this? I guess we'll never know.
First of all, you need to think for 20 minutes and then say, oh yeah, there's light. All right. Yes, I forgot about it. And probably it's not you that's going to think about it. It's probably your sidekick, which is like her cousin. Usually it's her.
Yeah.
But like, when I watched Cardcaptor Sakura, I was very young. I was pretty young. So I think if you have a child, a son, a daughter, and you want to put some anime for the kid to watch, put Cardcaptor Sakura. It will hold up. It has nice characters. It has a nice story with some major innuendos behind it. Although they fucked up the original story from Clamp, but the anime by itself, it holds up in that way.
Right.
Colorful characters, the clothing are very good. The animation is quite good, especially the attacks. The animation for the attacks are very good. Iconic music. So you might have a blast while watching it with your kid, just to remember how you felt the first time you watched it. So that is one-on-one nostalgia glasses. But if you watch right now, alone, in your 20s, I don't.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling about the sequel. I go, as much as I enjoyed Cardcaptor Sakura when, back in the day, or even, kind of skimming through it, when the sequel came out, I'm like, okay, it has a lot of the spirit as the old one. I think a lot of today's modern tendencies kind of clashed too much with it. But Lyrical Girl Nanoha seemed to encapsulate that same magical girl spirit, the naivety of just being a young girl, getting the powers and having responsibility. And
okay.
Go on, Hickey.
First of all, the sequel. I think the sequel is a little bit better because how the characters behave aged with the fans. Let's put it like that. So I guess.
Yeah.
Watching the sequel was less. It was less stressful than watching the original because the people writing the sequel know that who's watching this is probably the people who watched the first one, and they are older, so they need to tone down some things and show more other things. And I think they dealt with it in a good way. Lyrical Nanoha, it's definitely more serious than Cardcaptor Sakura, especially with how the story goes, because you have Nanoha, and then Nanoha becomes an adult, and it's still a magical girl, and then she marries and has a child. And
well, I was thinking more like the first 2 seasons or the 2 movies.
Well, even in the first 2 seasons, you had more position than Sakura had.
Well, I get that it's more serious, but I didn't say that when I picked it. I said the whole spirit of being the child and having responsibilities, and how the 2 shows go are different, but the spirit is there.
Yeah, I think Cardcaptor Sakura is more childish. It has more of this spirit than Nanoha. Let's put it like that. Is that a good answer?
Sure, I can rescind then. I can default to you. You are the lawyer. You should be the master of debate.
You know, I mean, the characters, they change clothes all the time in Cardcaptor Sakura. They are always very brightful and happy. In Anoha, it's like it's more, there's more gray tones to it. Although you have this childish feeling, it's not as strong as it is in Cardcaptor Sakura.
No, the childish theme is more heavy in Sakura, sure.
Yeah. So if you have a child, have a son, a daughter, make sure to check it out. Cardcaptor Sakura 10. I think they'll have a really good time. Especially if there's dubs as well, so we can watch that.
Right.
Ugh, dubs.
Calm down, Tori. Calm down. Don't attack him.
It's not the Cowboy Bebop dub, I don't care.
There's not enough swearing.
Yep. That'd be funny. Cardcaptor Sakura, but with a lot of swearing. fucking fuck!
Fucking Karo, get over here! Capture this card with me, you asshole!
My god, it's so fucking dark in there. What fucking card should I use to light this fucking place up?
having like a 9-year-old girl doing that. Oh my god. I call upon the power of the fucking Clow.
I'll fucking destroy you. Anyways, that's enough making fun of Cardcaptor Sakura. Let's move on to.
I've got the giggles.
While JD is laughing his ass off, let's go over to Initial D. And
hey, we've covered this before.
Yomushi Pedal.
Yeah, they're both racing type.
What is that other one about racing with a partner that came out? What was that name? I forgot the name.
Two-car?
Two-car, yes.
Oh god, please no.
I mean, that's not bad, but yeah.
You have Japanese people. That's all that matters.
You didn't have any Eurobeat though, and I don't really know much about Yowamushi Pedal, but I don't think Eurobeat and Yowamushi Pedal, JD, so I'm gonna have to say you're wrong on this one.
Whoa. Initial D may have Eurobeat, but Yowamushi Pedal has the Hime song.
Yeah, but that's not Eurobeat. Unless it's Hime song Eurobeat.
The best song ever made.
Also doesn't have an 8.6. So you know.
No, instead of it's whatever bike they're using.
My bike is the 8.6.
Well, no, the 8.6 was like, yeah, no, it was the mommy bike. The mommy bike was the 8.6. He shouldn't win with the mommy bike, but he was damn close.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. It is a mommy bike made of fiberglass, so no one realized that until it was too late, and the guy was like spreading his way to victory. He was like, what the fuck? How is this mommy bike winning against me?
The amount of ridiculous tactics used to win a race in both shows, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for anybody that's watched the review, they should all know that I'm not a fan of racing, I'm not a fan of cars, and I'm not a fan of Initial D. So, do I think it holds up? No. I honestly think it's got a great soundtrack. I love the Eurobeat, but I feel like even the Eurobeat in that show was kind of failed because I feel like they never let the music shine in that show. It always just cut out whenever things got exciting. That annoyed me.
So let me quote this Anime News Network article because this will make you happy, Tori. Maybe not me and Hickey, but I still got a kick out of it.
Well, was only 4 episodes good?
No. That was the Outlaw Star. It goes, oh no, what is this even doing here? I don't even. Okay, fine, look. I have practically nothing positive to say about Initial D, but that doesn't really matter now, does it? Sure, I could rightly and accurately point out that its character art is awful, its decision to use 3D CG for its cars looked laughably poor to audiences even back then, its characters are actively and aggressively uninteresting, and on and on and on and on. That's kind of what we went on, but that wasn't the point of the show, as Hickey and I kind of pointed out. But yeah, definitely go back and listen to our review over Initial D in episode 21 or whatever it was. One of our most popular downloaded episodes too.
Just want to say I like the CG in Initial D.
It didn't really bother me all that much either.
Time, it was very good.
So,
Yeah. All right then.
Does it hold up? Does it hold up? There's not a lot of racing themed anime right now. Out there. No, I don't think it holds up.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. It's still fun to watch, but that goes with the same Outlaw Star situation. So, all right.
I mean, I don't agree. That's fun to watch, but okay.
You're one person. The two other people say it's fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm the most popular host here, so.
Oh, damn it! You're right. Until we get more fan mail saying either Hickey or myself are better, then I guess you're right, Tori. How can I argue that? That is fact.
I'm pretty sure that's not gonna happen.
No, your opinions, it isn't though. Fun times. Anyways.
Hickey, we just need to work on our pandering skills.
You're right. Start sucking ass.
What do you want to be? Grow boobs?
Hickey,
I can do that shit.
Hickey, you're already damn sexy. If you grow boobs, things are gonna get out of control.
Yeah, this is just gonna become Backstreet Girls, the podcast.
Mahou Shoujo Ore reversed.
Mahou Shoujo Ore.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up conf this bitch. Anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to
next
Yu-Gi-Oh! And, I mean, for us that don't know Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't know who you would be. I think even if you're watching anime today, you still see these weird card shows that come out all the time. Some of them are titled
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh!
shows coming out.
Some of them are titled Jewel Master. Some of them are titled Card Game, the anime.
Card Fight Buddies?
Yeah.
No, that's another show about it.
I'm sure.
It's also very, very old, but no one talks about it.
Probably for good reason.
Yeah, to keep my answer simple, I'm definitely going back to Hickey's kind of card captor Sakura answer of watch this with children, and then it will hold up in that sense.
Alright.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still get a kick out of it because even when I watch it as a kid, I was like, this is weird. Like, this is fun. This is fun. Just fun. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it doesn't really matter at the end. It's just fun. So you can get a kick out of it, I imagine. I think it holds up, especially when you compare to the sequels, because I don't think the sequels are good.
Oh, interesting.
This guy.
I think they're just stretching up at this point, just like Pokemon.
This guy. I mean, for my sake, I've actually never seen the original Yu-Gi-Oh!
Blue Eyes White Dragon. You've never seen that moment?
Nope. As far as I'm aware, I mean, I might be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Was ever aired on TV here in Norway. However, that doesn't mean that I've been completely without Yu-Gi-Oh! Because we got Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and no shame, I like that show.
Really now?
I really did enjoy that show. Yeah.
Seriously, you need to answer Andrew from Recovery of an Anime Junkies podcast call and go on there, because, man, he's definitely got some questions for you, for sure. Now that you say you like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but you hate Initial D, what's wrong with you, Tori? I'm confused now. I demand you go over there.
If he ever invites me, I'll be down. I'm there to tell him, hey. No, like, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! GX I enjoyed. Now, I haven't seen that in many years, so do I think it holds up? Probably no. But, I mean, I like terrible card anime. I also like Jewel Masters, and that is awful. So, I like terrible card anime, even though I haven't seen one in years.
Let's watch card fight. All of it. Let's just
Card Fight Vanguard. Is that what it's called?
I would rather watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Thank you. Yu-Gi-Oh! Can't win.
Anything but TQ.
Alright, boys. What's next?
The next one is... Oh, yeah. The next one is... so we've also... Serial Experiments Lane. And, JD, why Steins Gate?
Okay, so my thought much like in the sense of kind of Yomushi Pedal and Initial D, just they're both racing anime. They both have ridiculous things happen during a race. So Serial Experiments Lane was an anime we actually reviewed in a past episode at the beginning. It was one of the first ones. Steins Gate, I compare it to being a weird, sort of pseudo-computer-oriented anime. You got this government conspiracy also happening in a story that you vastly must pay attention to in order to get a lot of the hidden things going behind the scenes. Especially, in Steins Gate's sense, it was the entire first half, and then everything kind of rolls together. And Lane kind of does that in the same way, but it's a shorter show, so it's on a per-episode basis to the end.
Why not Technolize?
Because Technolize was like a year or two after.
It's like 2002. Yeah, I agree with you, Hickey. I agree. I thought that too. I thought Technolize too when getting.
There's Ergo Proxy.
No. Ergo Proxy.
Very close.
Yeah.
With the Cogito virus and the robot spraying to the heavens.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I won't give you too much shit on this one because I will agree on one thing. The thing, but like when you talk about like comparing shows to Lane, the problem there is that it's kind of hard to compare something to Lane because Lane is kind of not completely its own thing, but there isn't a whole lot of stuff that is like Lane. So yeah, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it is hard. Lane is a hard one to compare with other things because it's its own thing. There's nothing really. I cannot think about something to compare with Lane.
Yeah,
like
I mean, even the atmosphere. Yeah, even the atmosphere developed in Lane was very unique, and the closest thing I can think of to even that is Boogie Pop Phantom. So, I was thinking outside the box as I like doing, and there you go.
The atmosphere, maybe Ghost Hound.
Yeah, that's another. Oh yeah, that would. Hickey, this is why you're here. For that kind of sexy thought thinking mind. Ghost Hound is definitely a good one to compare to Lane. Yeah, that one slipped by me.
Yeah, because
sure,
you have the spirits and the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Weird stuff going on, stuff appearing on the sky, and yeah.
Yeah, and that was 2007. So definitely, Ghost Hound for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might contradict myself, but I'm pretty sure I said that in the Lane review. I don't think Lane it holds up even in 1998.
Yeah, it's definitely worth going back. It's definitely worth going back and listening. If you're listening to this cast now and you haven't listened to Lane Cast, definitely go back and listen to that one. That one has a lot of conversation in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say as well, like, because here's what I think about Lane. I'm not exactly the mark for this type of show, so I'm not the biggest fan. But I actually disagree with you. I think it holds up. I mean, yes, and I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand why, because there are absolutely elements that 100% worked in Lane's favor that simply does not anymore. One of the things is that they made an HD remake, and why would you do such a thing? Because it ruined one of the best things about, or one of the most kind of one of the good things about Lane, in which it immediately sets your mood with the the opening, the present day, present time. Right. What happens is it cuts to this grainy thing, like basically the entire screen becomes grainy. And what happens is they place this little cutout of Lane's head in the screen. If you watch that on the standard definition TV, you would almost not be able to make that out. When you watch it in HD, he is on screen clear as day. So I get it. There are absolutely things that just doesn't hold up because of improved technology, but I still think even just going back to seeing the things that Lane kind of putting yourself in that mentality of when did this come out, and then seeing the things that Lane discussed and realize that there's a lot of stuff, especially involving computers and whatnot, that they discuss in there that very much predates its time. So I still think that is very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely not outdated. I think in the case of Serial Experiments Lane, the fact that it does or does not hold up doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
It's definitely something you should watch if you haven't.
All right, how about that next one, Tori?
Next one. That is His and Her Circumstances. Another show we've covered. My God. And to that you compare it to and you compare it to Lovely Complex and Clanad. Now, why would you do that, JD?
What do you mean? Why would I do that?
Why would you compare it to Lovely Complex and Clanad?
Why not?
I don't know. You're the one who did it. I can't read your mind.
Yeah, two heavy romance-oriented shows. One people love uncontrollably and unequivocally, and then Lovely Complex kind of goes forgotten, and it has a more centralized focus on the plot. So you kind of combine them together, and you get His and Her Circumstances. His and Her Circumstances, another show we covered on the cast way at the beginning. Another heavily downloaded show, actually, because of all of the dialogue that went with it. What His and Her Circumstances does very well for a romance and slice of life was definitely the start and the type of characters involved with it, and that was something definitely like with Silent Mobius. It was an outlier at the time, with all the other shows going on with the Cowboy Bebops and the Trigun and what have you. So His and Her Circumstances by Gynax and JC Staff had something else to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does it hold up? I think we answered that on the podcast episode.
Probably did, but just to give everyone a thought, you think it holds up?
I think the story holds up. I think the show does not.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, that is a good conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly just generally maybe, I don't think a lot of Gynax shows honestly holds up. Not that they're not fun to watch, or not that they're not good.
Right.
I just think a lot of them don't really hold up. Like, they're kind of products of its time. It's like I don't think you could make His and Her Circumstances now, not in the same way. At least it would be.
No, I mean, I saw a lot of comparisons online to Kimi Todoke.
Yeah, no.
I just don't see it. I don't see the comparison at all, really.
JD, there's a girl. She likes a guy. Clearly.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
That's the best I got for you.
I can't argue with that. Your argument is flawless.
Romance. The guy is not that much of a happy person as he seems to be. The girl is like there. Yeah,
she's there.
There's a lot of glitter in the air. It looks like a glitter company exploded, and all the glitter is still in the air from the pollution. But yes.
All right. So let's get on to our last one.
Alright, and the last one is Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 24. And you compare that to Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex and Psychopaths.
Yep. Future dystopian type shows.
Yeah, alright.
I think it's pretty quick. Does it hold up? I think no. 2040 does hold up still. No. We actually covered the original Bubblegum Crisis from the 80s on the cast, which is nice.
No.
I mean, it was fun.
No.
It was the original one. I thought it was fun. It's definitely dated. Definitely dated. But I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
no,
it's
the show. That is my huge, like, this is a huge problem comparing Bubblegum Crisis to Ghost in the Shell.
Badass female character, in this case characters having future technology, in this case suits, to fight crime. I mean, I'm going very loose here, but the...
Oh, I realized that.
Yeah, come on. You guys are busting my balls here with finding loose comparisons to these things. Just chill.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, if you're gonna come out here and compare something, you better be ready to defend your goddamn comparison.
I am defending it. And you guys are still busting my balls over here, eh?
Hey, that's what we do. That's why we do.
This is why we do a podcast. Yeah, that's right. The whole Psycho-Pass comparison, as the more I thought about it, the more I could see the similarities between the shows. Yes, they're two vastly different plots, but to the atmosphere and environment they were both going for, I saw a lot of similarities to it, down to the struggling personalities of the characters mixed in with that sort of where the world is heading and are you being left behind? Do you want to fight for it kind of thing. Yeah,
Bubblegum Crisis isn't good. Don't watch it, guys.
Oh my god. Well, you haven't seen 2040, have you?
No, I haven't, but I mean...
People regard that as being better.
I hope so, because that first one was so...
Yeah, I mean, the first one, although it's fun, the bar is already low. I don't think you can go lower than the bar has, so... Hopefully, 2040 is better. I haven't watched it. I should watch it, but... You know, so I don't know if it holds up or not. I would believe JD, because if he watched it and everything Tori didn't watch, he would just say it's bad. By default, so.
You're right. I forgot to say. God damn it! I should have said that. That's obviously true.
You can say that. We're still talking about Bubblegum.
Nah, I'm good.
You're okay.
It's not funny now.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Shall we get to our Trigun review? After I play this amazing drop?
Sure.
Hooray!
Are you here because you're following the will of others? Or are you here on your own will?
Okay, guys, we are here. It is time to talk the 1998 nostalgic classic that is the Madhouse anime Trigun. Came out in spring '98. The director was Satoshi Nishimura, who also did the Ushi and Tora TV anime, I found out. So that was pretty nice. And
the old one?
And Hajime no Ippo. No, not the 90s one, the newer one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I definitely see a lot of similarities in those art styles for sure. And the way the show goes.
And everything.
Absolutely. So just to pull the summary here, as I have written down here. Vash the Stampede, worth $60 billion double dollars to the one who can turn him in. I'm pretty sure that's also Dead or Alive. Bounty hunters everywhere are on the lookout for this legendary gunman, not to mention insurance agents, Meryl Streep and Millie Thompson, who are tasked with preventing any potential damage that this Vash can cause. But with $60 billion double dollars on his head, Vash is not an easy man to find. Well, at least at first. For all of 2 seconds.
Yeah. No, but you don't get it. The thing that obviously the plot twist here is that he's actually incredibly easy to find. It's just that whenever they find him, they're like, "Yeah, it's not him."
Yeah, I couldn't possibly be this goofball.
Yeah, he sucks. He's
human
too scared.
is this?
Yeah, he just runs away. Like no, it's all about love and peace. That's not the legendary Vash the Stampede, the ruthless killer.
So the backstory of Vash getting the $60 billion double dollars, we're definitely getting into a lot of the details a little bit later in this review. The point is that there was a town called July that pretty much got wiped out, and nobody died in the explosion, but it was the ensuing chaos happened that and they blame Vash for this incident, hence the high price tag on his head. And so the series begins with Vash just kind of hanging out at a bar. You don't know it's Vash, but he's having a drink, and then you get this you're immediately introduced to this kind of Wild West type world you're living in on this planet called Gunsmoke, which I quite like the name of the planet. It really emphasizes the fact that this is the Wild West. You know, there was even a video game called Gunsmoke.
I don't know. Yeah. I think we're probably gonna get way more, talk way more about the names later, but
there's no way to avoid. There's no way to avoid the names.
There's immediately there's a lot to take in with the Fist of the North Star type gangs that are always after Vash, and for those that haven't seen Fist of the North Star, it's this Mad Max kind of 80s. Everyone's got a mohawk. They're all in gangs and wanting to essentially kill the main character. That's where I'm going with that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the natural wasteland, and everyone seems to be starving in some way all the time. You find out that a lot of the towns are built around these plants, seemingly from fallen spaceships. What did you guys think about the initial introduction to the series in the first let's say 4 episodes?
Well, I thought it was gonna be the story about Vash the Stampede, but it wasn't. It was the story of Mero and Millie going around trying to find him.
Yeah, basically kind of the same. Like, I understood that Vash wasn't kind of what he was built up to be by the story. I pretty much figured that out before I started it. But going into, so I was curious about how they were going to spin this. But then it's kind of we're introduced to this guy, and it's just he tries to run away all the time. It's like, is that Vash? No, can't be Vash. And I'm like, that's yeah, no, that's him. That's definitely him. And I was like, well, maybe he'll have some sort of redemption. Maybe he will, not necessarily grow out of his love and peace thing, but maybe he'll eventually come around and be a little bit more brave and kind of. But then it's like, no, not really. Doesn't really happen until the end-ish. But yeah, the opening episode for me were kind of that was. I won't say that was where my hype for the show was crushed, but it was where it was I feel like I went into this very optimistic, and then I'm kind of okay, so where's the cool stuff?
So you didn't like the initial kind of goofy fights that ensued at all? With so the very first episode, the guy fighting him is this giant mohawk dude with a giant steel boomerang thing, and he throws it and takes out half the building. He's got his minions. There's another bounty hunter that comes, and he's kind of this Wild West kind of Jesse James type looking character, and he's got a cool little rifle that switches between barrels to fight more bullets consecutively. And Vash is kind of always being pseudo subtly slippery to escaping all these circumstances.
Yeah. No, I mean, right away, I didn't dislike the show right away, but the fights, I thought they were funny right away. The first battle and kind of the way things played out, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of funny. And then I see that, so rather they're not playing so much at action or whatnot, they're playing more at comedy. I'm like, I was fine with that, but
I think it established the comedy aspect very early.
Yeah, it's just that kind of, I wanted them to kind of move beyond just the comedy aspect, and I feel like they didn't really do that until the end.
Yeah, no, definitely.
No.
The fights, in my opinion, although it bothered me, it was fine. I didn't mind the fights, especially they made the episodes go by so fast. So really, in the first fight, I was like, yeah, he's very goofy. I hope he can show what he can do. And he shows a little bit at the last fight of this first introduction, where Mero and Millie were captured, and he goes in his goofy way and throws a knife, freeing both of them. So there's something there. It's not only a goofy ball. The problem is it's 10% seriousness and 90% goofy ball all the time.
Yeah.
Which takes away a lot of the, I guess, how can I say that? It takes away a lot of the feeling you should have in a fight. It has a lot of energy behind it, but it's kind of wasted by the slippery cockroach type of character that is Vash the Stampede.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, you said it earlier as well, Hickey, when we were just going through the shows from 98. It's you talked about kind of balancing serious and comedy. And I feel like Trigun kind of suffers from, it doesn't really try to balance serious and comedy.
I don't think the goal was to do that, though. I think the goal was to focus on the comedy.
Well, that's kind of the thing, though.
This is the problem.
Because
I wanted to talk about it later.
Yeah, no, I know.
So
I just want to kind of mention it because my problem is, I feel like I would agree. The problem is just at the moments it decides to go serious. That's kind of where I feel like it weakens, in my opinion. Where it's like, I feel like the overabundance of comedy and these silly characters, and then But anyways.
Yeah, I can give a little bit of a sneak peek so you guys can think about it. I think getting serious in every fight, in every arc, in every character, it is a natural progression to the show.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they don't want to. So when they see it's getting very serious, they will just cut off with dried comedy. So you see, like, you have, I don't remember the episode, but there's one episode where Vash goes to Mary and say, don't follow me. I don't want you following me because it's dangerous. And it's very serious. This is the end of the episode. Then you start the next episode with the flashback, and he's like, look, I don't want you following me because it is dangerous. Immediately after he says that, you're like, oh, he's going to just turn away and go out, and you're going to have a serious moment. He just turns into this cartoon character and gets a high-pitched voice. It's like, that's it. It was nice to know everyone. Goodbye. So it's like it cuts off the seriousness. Every single time it's starting to become more serious, just cut off until the very endish.
I think I know what moment you're talking about.
Avoiding being serious. That hurts a lot, the show. They avoid being serious. It's not, they don't want this natural progression to happen, which will benefit the show a lot. They just don't want. So they cut off.
Yeah,
every time they have a chance, they cut off.
Yeah, definitely rewatching the show. I definitely caught a lot of that this time around. How exactly there should be a natural progression. That's just storytelling. Instead, and I was curious when I looked this up. There's a consensus that the series is 65% filler, and the canon episodes are basically 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 12, 14, 15, and episode 18. That's a lot. That's a lot of basically filler. So if you take all that out, then it's just a comedy show with barely any seriousness. So the backstories is the serious to tell you who Vash is, why he acts the way he does, why he makes the decisions the way he does, and you learn, as we do in this cast, we do spoil things, so careful here. You do learn that he's actually an old guy, and old guys just don't change overnight, and absolutely, they should have handled the progression much better. Is the show still entertaining? That's up to the viewer, naturally. I was entertained. But Hickey, that one moment where it's, hey, don't follow me, and then he starts running through the desert, cackling like a ghoul for no reason. Was he based on his backstory, which you don't know at the time, which would make sense later? That's bad storytelling in the sense of where and what you know about the character at that point. It's jarring. Luckily, that doesn't happen often. It happened, as far as I'm concerned, twice. That kind of weird Vash acting happens, and then it makes sense later. But that doesn't take away your initial reaction to that.
I don't know, because the first time they find Nicholas in the desert, the priest.
Yeah, Wolfwood.
He goes like they are Wolfwood. Nicholas Wolfwood. He's like they interacting and all, and then like he goes messing, like he offers some food to some kids, and then Vash starts laughing, and he's like, oh, this is the first time you actually laugh. You're laughing all the time, but it's all fake. I don't know why you do that, but you should laugh like naturally more. But that is immediately brushed off, and he keeps the same way until I think was it? I think it was episode 18 where he pretty much is hurt badly.
Right.
And like he start having this kind of beady laugh, like beady smile.
Yeah, he's kind of accepting his fate and not having too many regrets, but the irony behind his life. Yeah.
It takes so long to get to this point. You know, they just brushed off that seriousness again, and he keeps being goofy until Millie starts to realize there's something wrong, and that is already episode, I don't know, 16, 15.
Yeah, see, I looked at this show, and if anyone is familiar with the show, Tori, I know you are. Galaxy Express 39. Mm-hmm. In the way the show, yeah, you can look at it, go, hey, you can probably cut down to 9 to 12 episodes and really get what the story is, who the characters are, and what have you. And then everything else is kind of gravy into what the world is, because the way I took at it was kind of in that same way, where yes, every episode. As long as I accept the fact that this is going to be a comedy-oriented show, and eventually, hopefully, we learn about Vash and his backstory and why he acts the way he does. We do. Where it's placed in the show, I had a problem with, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But each episodic focus show, or a focused episode, even though you could count it as filler, I thought brought us closer to the world. It got me ingrained in the relationship between Vash and just people in general and how he sees the world. The episode that stands out to me, actually the most, there was 2 of them. And episode 2 with the water hoarding, where you have the rich guy hoarding all the water and keeping it away from the people of town. And Vash, even though he is an expert marksman, can basically predict bullet shots like Max Payne. Bullet paths and dodge. And then the episode where the rich girl is kidnapped and the kind of the hired henchmen break in, and he's got a dude, even though he's surrounded, he's got a dude in the sights of the barrel, and he just decides not to shoot. Then there's that key line where it's Millie going, "I'm glad you didn't shoot him," and he kind of has this. It's a happy yet sad expression, just being like, "Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't either." And that set to me that there's more to Vash. Why did he make that decision? But I will emphasize again, when we find all this out, the placement is I feel very much in an incorrect spot.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's kind of the thing. Like again, it's not like when I say I think like it doesn't balance itself properly. That's kind of what I mean, right? Because it's not like all it does is bad. It's not like I sit there and think like, oh, everything the show does is incorrect or wrong, or they did this horribly. But the problem is just that where I feel like you need to give the viewer more, or at least make it easier to be able to have that distinguish between his 2 modes, because there's clearly that the comedy stems from his backstory and his other mode. But
right.
But kind of again, you go so long without even knowing or having any inclination that might possibly be the thing. So then when it finally happens, like you said, the placement finally happens, you're like, so that explains everything. But that still doesn't change the fact that I have had to struggle through quite a few episodes because of the way Vash acts.
So I got a very similar feeling as well watching Slayers, where if you find what's happening on screen entertaining enough, then the overlying story and that subplot won't bother. Well, like it'll be there, but it won't bother you as much, because what's happening on screen in that episode in that time is more important. And just like as opposed to Slayers, in Slayers I was entertained mostly, more or less. In Trigun, I never found myself bored. I thought every episode did its job into entertaining me. got me to love the characters, what they were doing on screen. As goofy as it was, I really, really enjoyed it. I think what its goal was, is exactly that, and I think it accomplished that.
No doubt in that. I was entertained as well. Like I said, it is an easy watch. Like,
Super
it
easy.
goes by so fast. It is fun. It is fun. I just didn't appreciate how they were treating the series parts and the progression of the story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially like,
For sure.
also the characters are not that complicated. You can see the function of everyone, which was very sad when Millie was sad. Like I felt very sorry about that.
All right.
Also, like the progression between the character relationships, kind of wonky, but
yeah.
So the series basically goes: meet a character, shenanigans ensue. Meet Wolfwood, learn the world, kind of, each episode with shenanigans, of course. That's the key word I found myself thinking as I was watching this. I was like, okay, when's the shenanigans coming? I can't wait. I want to get into the character and total pacifism mentality that is Vash the Stampede. I want to know what you guys think about that.
Yeah.
I think it's valid.
Because that's the crux of the show.
No, it is.
Yeah,
Besides
I think
the
it's
comedy.
valid, but doesn't just justify the moral at the end, right? Because like he's only a pacifist for the punchline. It feels like that. It's like I won't say it, but like he kills someone and he's like in distress, and it's like it is fine to make mistakes if you learn for them. It's like, yes, yes. Is that the point of the show? Yes, that's the point of the show. So no human has any right to deal and all the. No, it's just like you should learn for your mistakes and adapt to it. It's like, okay.
Well,
Like,
that is the
fine.
ultimate other message that
It's
the
also
show does get
it's
across.
very noble. It makes Vash a noble character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it doesn't justify the punchline they had at the end.
No. And again, I feel like that's kind of, not to say that that's there for the comedy, but I feel like that kind of also plays in. But yeah, no, I agree. I do think, it's definitely an interesting thing, right? Because obviously, and this is one of the things that kind of took me by surprise, when you expect, this Western space planet with outlaws and bounty hunters and all these things and violent gangs and whatnot, and you're expecting bloodbaths and fights, and the main character is somebody who literally won't kill anyone no matter what. It's kind of like,
And yet he has a $6 billion
yeah, it's
price.
like you sit there and go like, how did this happen? I mean, they do explain. They kind of show you how it happens, and I get it. It's for comedy, but it's for comedy. But it's like you kind of sit there and go, that's some coincidence right there.
I don't know. I didn't feel like coincidence was hitting the show really at all. Like everything at the end of it, I could piece everything together easily, and it all made sense, even with the events that unfolded.
I think it's very much a case of just things. Like let's put it this way: he very much where the things happened, where cities were ruined, and his name was placed everywhere. It's like it literally is just a lot of them were a case of just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, I think, like, although I said it doesn't justify the story, where the story goes, I think it justifies the character, because a lot of times you have pacifist characters in anime.
Right.
And they're usually fine. They don't suffer that much, but Vash, they make sure to show you the price of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And love.
By showing, like, how much destroyed his body is.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they say, like, this is the price he paid being a pacifist. Because he could shoot everyone and defend himself, but he chose not to. So choosing
Yeah.
someone and harming yourself, like choosing to not harm someone but harm yourself, is a very difficult choice, and he always did that, and they showed you that. Again, makes him very noble. He's a very noble character for that mentality.
Yeah, when I remember, like, I remember as a kid watching this show unfold, and when it eventually got to the more serious parts, and even now when I rewatched it and I was trying to remember everything, it definitely hit me, and it still hits me. Where, well, let's get into the backstory then, since we're there pretty much at that point. What do you say?
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's Vash's backstory is he was on a what you call, I guess, a seed ship in space, and mankind basically went out into space with many of these different ships to colonize other planets. Because I'm trying to remember. I guess Earth was fucked. So
Like always.
yeah, like always, it's gonna happen, I guess. And Vash has a brother named Knives. Weird name to give someone, but all right.
Well, Legato Blue Summer. Come on.
And you come to find out Vash and his brother Knives are actually like test tube plant children, more or less. And they age super fast to, what was it, 10 years old within the first year. And the crew of the ship involved on the seed ship, we're gonna kill them. And a woman named Rem, R-E-M, jumps in and says, no, don't harm these children. They've done nothing wrong. They're kind of pure. And who Rem is affects Vash. Like the bond and relationship development between the two is the motivation behind Vash, who he is, his character, and the decisions he makes.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I've said this before on the cast a few times already, the placement of this is very much incorrect. If it was placed earlier in the show, and as Hickey stated a few times now, and I have reiterated, the seriousness progression was handled better. This show could and should have been so much better than what it was. I'm not saying the arc itself was bad or anything. I think the Vash backstory arc is fantastic. The placement's just what I had an issue with. So, shenanigans ensue, and by shenanigans I don't mean the goofy shenanigans earlier. I mean the how the crew treats Vash and Knives, and how the two separate into worldviews. You know, the kind of yin and yang is the theme there between Vash and Knives develops. And I think it's very obvious how the show puts that off. Just how one person can affect another, but affect two people in different ways. How Vash takes everything Rem says to heart, while Knives sees only the negative in everything, and seeing logic in decisions, how everything's viewed in black and white, while Vash then sees the world in, well, you don't, why should you have to see the world that way? And one of the more impactful moments of that was the scene where there's a butterfly caught in a spider web, and Vash is there looking at it, trying to think of how to save both, you know, and then Knives just kind of takes the spider and crushes it.
Mm-hmm.
And Knives' reaction goes, well, if you left it there alone, the spider would have killed the butterfly. Or, and then Vash like, well, you could save both. Well, if you saved the butterfly and then left the spider there, the spider would have starved to death. So, Knives sees only logic, and that's kind of what you get to see, how this character then becomes that evil villain and how he sees the world.
Only the strong will survive.
Right.
Everyone else must die.
Yeah, and Knives ends up causing with these choices very interesting things to happen along the ship. Animosity, characters kind of turning each other, the emotions and actions of humans. They use that term a lot. Are very much too. It's too sporadic and erratic to predict. They don't act logically. Like to Knives, it makes no sense to him. They just don't need to exist, pretty much. While Vash takes what Rem says, like, you don't have the right to take the life of another, which we heard earlier in the series, is very much the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think about this whole Seed ship backstory? Did you take it to heart as much as I did, or did you kind of look at it differently?
I mean, it was, like, again, it's an interesting watch, for sure. Kind of going through it, it absolutely does open your eyes to a lot of the stuff that makes up the characters. And while I will say that again, it's kind of that typical, like, for the villain side, for Knife's part, I kind of feel like it's that typical, like, well, in the world there you have the strong and the weak. The strong prey on the weak to survive. So obviously, then him being the villain, he will then spin that into, well, that gives me the right to kill everyone. So it's like, well, I understand he will like look at stuff logically, but I feel like that's kind of a leap in logic again. But whatever, he does have the power. He's not wrong,
right?
So he's powerful enough to do it. But I don't know. But yeah, no, for Vash, like kind of seeing Vash especially, and it is definitely interesting, right? Because again, Vash is the sort of guy that just wants to do right by everyone. Everyone needs to be happy. Like, we need to save everyone, but obviously saving everyone isn't always the right answer. And obviously seeing, because you've seen Ram, you've seen her a couple times. He's had some flashbacky moments of her before,
right,
and stuff like that. So like you've seen her, although you didn't really know who she was or what their relationship. But you could infer that was something there. But it's mostly just been like he kind of remembers a song or hears somebody whistle a song and he remembers that song, and then he kind of pictures her and it's like, what is it? Nothing. Like, so it's
well,
like, okay,
he's
fair enough.
Yeah, he's clearly distraught and heartbroken. Doesn't want to even bring it up. It makes sense. It does make sense
for sure. But for a long time, you're kind of just sitting again. For a long time, you are sitting there going, okay, I guess it's not important. But then again, it turns out that it is. But we already talked on this. But yeah, no, seeing and kind of getting that perspective, because I mean, Rem as well, while she is absolutely more teaches him stuff like, you don't have the right to take another person's life and whatnot. She isn't exactly I wouldn't call her as crazy as Vash is when it comes to this. She does realize that, because she realizes, I think before Vash ever does, that kind of this way of thinking is also a bit hypocritical.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is like, you want to do right by everyone, but you can't really do right by everyone. It doesn't work.
Well, there's also villains in the show that call out Vash as being a hypocrite.
Yeah, I know.
For example, he's got this heavy bounty on his head. He goes around spouting, no one has the life to take it of another, but he carries around this super gun with live ammunition. Like, they call him out on it, and he doesn't have a response to that.
Yeah, by the end, he kind of does see that by the end as well, that it is hypocritical, mostly for kind of the flashback stuff and whatnot. He does acknowledge that it is hypocritical. But that again, that comes into like who he is. It's like it's hypocritical. It's a kind of a hypocritical thing of way of thinking, but that's who he is, and it's like not acting like himself, not being himself. That would just be disingenuous to who he is as a person.
Right.
If he stopped being like this, he wouldn't be himself, no matter how hypocritical it is. So even if it's like, I think he says it a couple times, well, like no matter how futile it is, he will always try to find a way. And stuff like that. So for sure, there are moments where you definitely do see where even Vash shines as a character, and I think you kind of see that like there is more interesting parts of this. And again, just it's annoying to me then that it is bogged down by so much stuff that I wasn't as interested in, and was very much where I feel like, you know, its episodic nature hurt it. In the sense that's like it came down to very much just did I or did I not enjoy this individual episode for what it brought to the table? And then so it's always just like a coin flip, either yes or no.
What about you, Hickey?
The backstory is rather interesting, especially because you don't have a lot of goofiness on it. So it kind of breaks off the vibe of the show.
Yeah.
I was interesting not with what happened in the ship, because what happens in the ship is very how to build a villain 101. He's abused. He wants to revenge himself. He has a twin brother who's the complete opposite. Then he starts to plot stuff on the background and have like someone be accused of rape, and then people start killing each other, and he causes the ships to fall on the earth. But the interesting thing is what happens before that, no, after that, where the ship already crashed, everyone's dead except Vash and Knives. And Knives goes to Vash like, "Are you okay? Let me help you." And Vash is like, "No, you killed everyone." And he's like, "Yeah, that's right, I killed them. What are you gonna do?"
Yeah,
and Vash
yeah.
cannot simply do anything because it's not him. He's not gonna kill Knives. He cannot harm Knives. It's his nature. And then they start actually traveling together. And this is very interesting because you see a lot of Knives mentality that it's the only point in the series where you're gonna see how Knives mind works. And it is very it is very interesting to see how Vash deals with someone who's the complete opposite of him, and still follows him around. And then after like 30 years, they find people, like they give water to the people. Like Knives is something really bad, and Vash feels powerless because he can do anything until they fight. So like I think it's the first time Vash kind of breaks off his moral code with shooting Knives in the leg. So like how also Knives react to the pain of like
the betrayal of the one person he trusts. Yeah,
but not only that, but like the first time in his life he was weaker than someone, especially someone he deemed weaker, the weakest of all.
Right.
So it is very interesting. It is very interesting, very different from the vibe of the show. Add a lot of things to the show general feeling. But the problem is, like you said, JD, it was kind of late.
Yeah.
Definitely helps at the end. Definitely helps in like giving a push to the ending. But until then, it's already done.
Yeah.
It's already said and done how you feel about the characters and all.
The other thing that was interesting was Knives goes out on his own, and Vash is kind of left behind earlier, and Knives spends X amount of years just scrummaging this old broken down siege ship that crashed. An important key is that Rem stayed behind on the siege ship before they were crashed to kind of change course so they wouldn't all just explode when they hit. They just kind of landed. And there's a bunch of people just in frozen states. And that's why there are people on the planet, and that's why also a lot of the towns are built around the busted siege ships and plants. And Knives comes back from his little excursion, and he brings back 2 guns. One for him, one for Vash. Which I was very curious about why he brought a gun specifically for Vash.
I think it's kind of to taunt him.
I think so as well. I think so as well, because Knives always wants that kind of forcing decisions on other people, because he's so curious about how other people would act, not himself.
Yeah, I mean,
even if it upsets him.
Knives the entire time as well. He's kind of whether it's intentional or not, I'm not quite sure. But he always seems to kind of try to break, because he knows how important Vash's moral code is to him. So, but he's always kind of working to try to break that, try to force him into situations where he can't follow his moral.
When he kills the guy who's related to Ram.
Okay, so
it's like
definitely want to go into that.
There's no point of killing the guy unless testing the resolution of Vash.
So there's a showdown between Vash and Knives. This is how Vash loses his arm, and Knives activates what they call the Angel Arm. And this is how the City of July, known as the July Incident, occurs. This is how Vash gets his bounty. How Knives forcibly activates this Angel Arm, and basically super kill-all gun. And what's interesting is Vash's only destroys inorganic material. This is why nobody in the city died, but the ensuing chaos was definitely part of Knives' plan, because we saw, what was it, like 200,000 people or 2 million people basically kill each other, and they called it Hell on Earth. And that leads to an incident later where we meet someone in an episode that came from the town that survived it. That goes into the more serious notes of the arc of Legato Blue Summers and the Gung Ho Guns. Yeah, the Fist of the North Star type bad guys, but more in the sense of they're centralized, and they're Knives' minions for life, especially Legato. And the whole idea behind that is, as you guys already mentioned, the taunting of Vash, and to test his moral code. What Legato says, it's one of my favorite lines in the show, is this is all so Vash can get the ultimate suffering by getting his first conscious kill, his first murder that was right in front of his eyes. Not what happened in July. The July incident was out of his control, unconscious. He even had some wild amnesia after that episode because it was so detrimental to him. So what would his first conscious kill do to him? And then that brought into that final encounter between Vash and Knives, which was a very much battle of yin and yang, as I mentioned, and it brought in some Cowboy Bebop type stuff with Vicious and Spike as well. It was very much in that same realm of, this is the final showdown between two characters. But in this case with Vash, it was his moral code against what he saw a lot of, his past. Can he put his past behind him was the other question. And I really liked how, despite where it was all placed in the series and how it went about it, the ending did so much for me, and I really enjoyed it. Anybody care to talk about, everything from the events of July to Legato to the final encounter?
I feel sorry for Mealy. That's the only thing I have to say. That was so out of left field.
The show does a good job without pulling punches. That's one thing, at least in modern anime, that I have a problem with a lot of anime, where take I don't know, Megalobox, top of my head, where you can pretty much assume a character's never going to lose, or if it does, it will be, kind of that sports anime shenanigan stuff, but it doesn't do it right. In this sense, having characters die, having incidents occur that vastly affect the main character and motivation, this show, I think, does a good job with that.
I think the relationship between Nicholas and Millie, when they show you, it's pretty much a death life for Nicholas.
Right.
Because of the character Millie is. Millie is the actual smart woman, but she decides to not show it because she thinks, being happy and positive most of the time is the way of living.
Mhm.
So every time she suffers, you as well suffer. Because it takes a lot to break down that character. And you see that twice in the series. One is the escaping plan, like the couple trying to escape, and she's helping them. Then Vash kind of fake the killing,
Right.
and she gets pissed. And then is when the second time is when Nicholas is killed, and they had sex for some reason. It doesn't came out of left field.
Hey
But
man,
because
two
they need
consenting
to.
adults, they gotta do the baby making. Come on.
Yep.
the relationship between Millie and Nicholas is so weird and out of place that makes the relationship between Vash and Meryl seems completely normal.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it is interesting. Legato being killed by Vash, I think that was it wasn't the final battle, but that was the high point of the show. Because,
Yeah,
like,
for a twist moment, yes, and a major character development too. Yeah, I agree, Hickey.
Yeah, definitely. Like how it progresses. Like I'm unarmed. I'm in front of you. I killed a lot of people you cared for. Kill me. No. I'm bringing the villager here because I'm mind controlling them. Kill me. No. I'm gonna make the villagers kill themselves in front of you if you don't kill me. Kill me. No. I'm gonna make the villagers not only kill themselves but also kill Mary and Millie. They're there. So kill me. It's like sometimes there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and that was
You
the
know,
whole
that thing, like,
motivation with Knives to try and get it out of him.
yeah, and Legato just nailed it. From the time like he appeared, he completely nailed it.
Was it the steam sand train arc is when he first appeared, or at least the minions of Legato?
No.
Or was it a little before that?
He first appeared on the city, one city that there was this huge windmill, I think, with the gang, and he's just sitting there eating, and what is the name of the guy? It's something Hornfrick. He's playing on the stage. And
I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, he makes the gang kill themselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hornfrick. Hornfrick. That name, I love that name. He doesn't have
Mid Valley,
any
the
kind of
Hornfrick.
purpose aside being in the background playing some tunes every single time. He's the background music artist. Every time he appears, he's just playing the saxophone.
Yeah.
That guy. Like even him, like although he doesn't do a lot of things in the series. When it comes to his battle with Vash, and the saxophone, which is his weapon, is damage, and Vash is like, "Don't shoot. You're gonna kill yourself if you shoot. Please don't shoot." And he shoots anyways, and just like killed himself. It is very shocking for Vash seeing what people are willing to do to kill another person.
Yeah.
You know. And then you have Legato just donating his life to Vash, basically. And, you know, Vash kind of realizing in some situations there's nothing you can do. You are powerless.
Would you agree that
like,
without Legato, the series would definitely be missing something? I totally think that way.
It would, because he's a tool. You know, he doesn't see himself as a human being, although he called himself a human being. He's more like a tool, and he knows what he needs to do and how he needs to do.
Well, isn't there a line Legato says where he goes, what my will doesn't matter, it's all the will of Knives, so my life is up to him. He says something around that line.
Yeah, he says, I think every gunhole life is like that. I think he says that like the gun holes are just for knives. So if he decides we need to die, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
The end. I think he says something like that. But I know when he confronts Vash one time, he says like something about him being a human being and Vash not being a human being and stuff like that. I remember being very impactful, although I don't remember what he said. But like definitely he's an interesting character because he's very mysterious. And then you see like him coming to terms with death. And it's very, how can I say it? It is very important. Like he's teaching a lesson to Vash, and in his eyes, you can see that he's fine with dying if he teaches Vash a lesson. It's not about getting revenge. It's not about being a prick like Knives. It's more about teaching him a lesson that sometimes there's nothing you can do. So it is very interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't really have anything to add here.
Okay. So, well, I think I've said my piece on Trigun. Anybody else got anything to say?
I mean, just the finals as I promised. I kind of want to go through the some of the names.
Sure.
The final fight. Let's talk about the final fight.
Okay, we can do that first, and then we'll go through the names.
Yeah, just a little bit. It was kind of a little bit over the top and didn't match at all for the anime.
I think it was kind of hinted, though, with the backstory of the July incident.
I know, but like how over the top it was, it doesn't match most of the confrontations we had before.
Yeah.
But like how Vash it is, he brushed it off and he came off as killing someone and comes to terms with it. And again, if you kill someone or do something that is wrong, if you recognize you did wrong and work yourself to do the right thing, that's what is important. And like he came off as a better thing because he's not a human being. Mm-hmm. And his decision of not killing Knives, the guy who made him suffer, who killed his friends, who killed everyone he liked, killed entire cities just so he could suffer. That was important for him.
Yeah. It was why Knives found a way to continue himself, I suppose. The series is much more deep than I remember it, watching it in my later age now.
Unfortunately, they try to brush it off and hide it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't really consider it to be that deep either. But I will say this. This is definitely kind of one of those things that you see way more in anime than you do in or at least way more often in anime than you do in most other forms of media. And that is just that kind of like that clash of ideals. You pretty much, I mean, for fuck's sake, just go down the shonen list and how often don't you have, differing ideals clashing there? And I mean, I feel like the thing with Trigun is that they kind of put it very, like they want to go very like literal with it and like, what's the right thing? Kill everyone, only the strongest will survive, or kill no one.
No middle ground.
Yeah, it's kind of like that's one of the things that I had a bit of a hard time with. It's kind of like I feel like they put it so out there that I feel like not to say that like if you were going to pick side, but it's like it almost was like the right answer almost certainly has to be somewhere in the middle here. Because these two, they are like opposite extremes.
Yeah. Well, all right. Final scores?
Final scores? I give it a 6.
I give it a 7.
And I still gave it an 8. I really wish I could give it a higher score. But man, the order in how it handles the story and progression, I I think it hurts the show way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the two major problems, and I was talking to Tori, and he said, "Say it for the podcast." Okay. The two major problems, in my opinion, in this show is one, how they actively avoid being serious.
Right.
This is a huge problem. The second one is what I call Chinibyo feeling. The story itself, it seems like it was written by someone who's suffering from Chinibyo, from the names, from the fashion, from how the story progresses, how the characters behave, you know, all those things. They're very Chinibyo.
Yeah, I can see that.
Story. I want to make an awesome planet story thing. Kind of hurt the show, but at the end, I think you can get over it because it is entertaining.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
you're not wrong.
They actively brush off and try to hide how serious the show can be. It's kind of annoying from time to time.
Nah, but I mean, you're not wrong. Like the mangaka for this one, I mean, I'm just, you know, I didn't say anything, but I also find it kind of fun that you compare Trigun to Blockade Battlefront, because obviously the mangaka did them both.
Did he? I didn't even know that.
He did.
Well, then that totally makes sense now.
So it's like, well, obviously, the thing...
better. He evolved. Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
well,
He evolved.
Hold on. Just also as a side, the first season of Blockade Battlefront is anime original and not actually based on the manga. So
I know, but I read a little bit of the manga. How they progress, like the progression, it feels better. Definitely feels better how they handle things.
That's good to hear, because everything I've heard about this guy is kind of like he's obviously known as the Trigun mangaka, but also every time I hear people talk about him, it's always the same. It's like, yeah, he's actually kind of bad. He's actually kind of a bad author.
I didn't say he is good. I said he became better.
I know.
Like,
I know. That's always positive.
The problem with the manga of Blood Blockade Battlefront is that there's no salt in it. It's very plain from time to time, but
yeah, that's what I've heard. Oh well, that's just a fun little thing.
Well, in the end, the podcast gave the show a 7 when you put it all together. It's not bad. That's not bad at all. I was a little bit worried it was going to become another Slayers type situation.
Nah, this is not that bad.
That's good. That's good.
On the show between two forces clashing, we stayed in the middle ground.
yeah. That's not too bad actually. I'm quite happy with that. We got a big discussion out of Trigun. That was a lot more than I thought. So,
do you want to talk about the names?
Yeah, we can talk about the names right fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already talked about some of the names. So, you know, people like Vash the Stampede, like Millie Thompson, again, Meryl Strives. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at one right here. I just love this name in all its silliness. Brilliant Dynamite's Neon.
Damn right.
Remember him? Yeah. Remember that guy?
I remember.
What's that whole kind of Billy? It's that whole Billy the Kid Western name situation, and the show definitely embraced it.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Nebraska family.
It sure is.
Wait, where'd they get Nebraska from? They're on Planet Gunsmoke.
Horn Freak is the best name of this show. Horn Freak. The guy has a saxophone. He's a horn freak. I love it. It is simply good.
I mean, but there are some names as well that I'm looking here. It's like I feel like he didn't really try. Like Ride the Blade. So kind of like, I don't know.
These clearly aren't their actual names. They're all their nicknames for their Wild West characters.
Dominic the Cyclops. Chapel the Evergreen, Monev the Gale, Hopper the Gauntlet. It's kind of like, damn.
Oh man, well if you're getting a kick out of the names now, wait till you watch that next anime we're covering.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
I won't spoil that one. You'll see that a few weeks from now.
What is going to be the next one that we will talk about then?
Oh, I'm not going to spoil that for this cast.
Why not?
That's a surprise.
Think you should.
No.
You should.
So
JD, you need to make people want to come and listen to the next one.
all right. Hopefully, we're gonna be joined by Brains the Trash Panda. He'll be the special guest. We're doing Aura Battler Dunbine from the early '80s.
We sure will. Yoshiki Tomino show.
Looks fun.
The
Sounds
very
fun.
first isekai show, apparently.
Stuck in another
I'm
world
not
with my
there.
robots.
You just ruined my excitement, but okay. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Yep. It's a long one. I think it's like 49 episodes, so we got plenty of time. We've had this one in the works for a while. No matter what, it will be the next episode covered. Hopefully, Brains can join us. This has been the Red Leaf Retrocast, episode 27, Worldwide Weebs edition. You can find this podcast iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Smart Radio, and all your other favorite podcasting outlets. Still waiting on that Spotify review period. Definitely hit up iTunes, leave us a review, send us emails. The email's in the description of the episode, as it always is. And thank you all for joining us. This was a ton of fun.
Yep.
Yep.
Righty. Huzzah! We've done it, guys.
That was very fun.
Yeah.
I love 2
It's
hour
been a while for
episodes.
you as well.
No.
That is incredible. We didn't have a single technical issue.
No,
That is the first time.
the stream was flawless the whole time as well.
Yeah. Hickey, you're a good luck charm apparently. You weren't here for the last one. Well, my fucking computer crashed.
Midway.
Yeah, well, not midway. It wasn't the beginning. We done like a solid 15 minutes of recording, and then my fucking computer crashed. I'm like, oh god, no. I had to restart everything.
My butt is squared. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Stand up and shake my legs.
Gotta shake me legs. Oh, and by the way, for those that are curious, Denmark won 1-0 over.
1-0? Yeah.
Yep.
Denmark
That
won?
sounds the score I would expect out of a Peru-Denmark game.
Denmark won, yeah. Denmark actually plays pretty good. I don't know why you hate them.
I don't hate
Iceland
them,
and
but the lack of
Denmark
Nicholas
was-
Benter is an
The
immediate.
next phase, I'm feeling it. Fuck Argentina. Just fuck them. I don't give a shit.
As long as Argentina loses, it's a successful World Cup.
Nah, man. I still want Argentina versus Portugal final.
That's fine.
What, just for a
Brazil,
Messi
yeah,
Ronaldo
plays in the
showdown on the
finals.
World Cup scale?
Yeah, because that would be the first time. Dude.
Well, haven't they met? No.
Not in the World Cup, no.
Oh well.
You know, the one force in the World Cup conflict, I want to say, match Japan against Senegal.
You know, yeah.
Must watch TV there.
Trigun.
There's so many memorable matches in this World Cup. It's so fucked up.
I love the World Cup.